In 1804, a farmer named John Bell moved his family to a quiet stretch of land in Robertson County, Tennessee. The land rolled gently between low hills, thick with oak and hickory trees. A clear creek cut through the property, bordered by fields of cotton and corn. It was the kind of land men dreamed of. In the county as a hard-working man, respected by his neighbors, active in the local Baptist church. His wife, Lucy, was remembered as gentle and deeply devoted to her family. Together, they raised 9 children, the household always full of noise, chores, and laughter. Betsy, their youngest daughter, was said to be bright, curious, and close to her father. Their eldest son, John Jr., worked the fields alongside his father from a young age. For 13 years, life on the farm followed the same steady rhythm: planting, harvest, church on Sundays. Neighbors would later say the Bells were the last family anyone expected something like this to happen to. Then, in the summer of 1817, that rhythm broke. It began in the fields, under the ordinary light of a working afternoon. John Bell was walking the fence line, checking on his crops, when he noticed something at the tree line. An animal, he would later say, though he could never fully describe what kind. Some who heard the story later said it resembled a dog. Others insisted it looked like nothing natural at all. Its body seemed to shift oddly in the shade of the trees, never quite settling into a clear shape. John raised his gun instinctively, the way any farmer would toward an unfamiliar predator near his home. He fired a single shot across the field. The creature did not run. It did not flinch. It simply vanished, as though it had never been there. John stood alone in the field for a long moment, lowering his weapon slowly, uncertain of what he'd just witnessed. He told no one that evening. What, after all, was there to say? But that night, for the first time, the walls of the Bell house began to knock. It started softly, a single, dull knock against the outer wall, easy to dismiss as a settling house. Then it came again, and again, each time closer, each time louder. John rose from bed and searched the house, room by room, lantern raised, breath held. There was nothing. No broken shutter. No branch against the wood. No explanation at all. The following night, the sound returned, this time joined by a faint scratching beneath the floorboards. It moved. Not randomly, but deliberately. As if something were pacing, the children began waking to the feeling of their blankets sliding slowly off the bed. No draft. No open window. Just the quiet, steady pull of unseen hands. Betsy, still a young girl, seemed to suffer the worst of it. She described the sensation of being struck across the face while she slept. Lucy Bell prayed over her children each night, holding them close, whispering scripture into the dark. Still, morning after morning, the marks returned. Word began to spread quietly through the small farming community of Adams, Tennessee. At first, neighbors assumed exaggeration, the kind of story that grows with each retelling around a fire. But those who visited the Bell farm to see for themselves rarely left as skeptics. Respected men of the county came to witness it: church elders, local judges, even school teachers. Many reported hearing the same knocking, the same scratching beneath the floor, the same cold, deliberate pull on their own blankets. One visiting preacher was said to have prayed through the night, only for the disturbances to grow louder in response. The Bell home, once a private and ordinary household, slowly became something the entire county whispered about. Guests began arriving not out of curiosity alone, but out of genuine, growing unease. And still, the phenomenon continued to change, growing, as if learning, as if listening. Weeks became months. What had been knocking and scratching slowly gave way to something far stranger: a voice. Faint at first, barely more than a whisper carried on the night air. Over time, it grew clearer, sharper, unmistakably present in the room with them. It called itself several names over the following months, but most often it answered to one: Kate. Some in the community believed the voice belonged to the spirit of a neighboring woman, Kate Batts, with whom John Bell had a long and bitter land dispute. The entity itself neither confirmed nor denied the connection. It simply spoke on its own terms whenever it chose to. Witnesses described it singing hymns late into the night, its tone eerily beautiful, almost mournful. It quoted scripture aloud, at times with startling accuracy, correcting preachers who misspoke a verse. It held full conversations with visitors, answering personal questions that no stranger should have been able to know. It argued, it mocked. At times, witnesses swore they heard it weep in the dark hours before dawn. But its cruelty, from the very beginning, was reserved almost entirely for one man alone: John Bell. The voice cursed him by name, night after night, promising him suffering that would not end. It declared openly and repeatedly that it intended to see him dead. Slowly, John's health began to decline in ways no one in the household could explain. His face twitched uncontrollably. His jaw would seize without warning, leaving him unable to speak or eat for hours. His tongue swelled painfully, and at times he could do nothing but lie still, waiting for the episode to pass. Doctors from the surrounding county were called in, but none could offer any diagnosis that made sense.
Wake up, Father!
Lucy watched her husband fade a little more with each passing season, powerless to stop it. Even outsiders of considerable standing were said to take notice of what was happening on the Bell farm. Local legend claims that General Andrew Jackson himself, years before becoming president, traveled to witness the events firsthand. As his wagon approached the property, the story goes, its wheels froze in place on the open road. No amount of pulling or driving could move it, until, as the legend tells it, the presence allowed passage. Whether myth, memory, or folklore embellished with time, the story only grew larger with each passing year. And through it all, the entity's focus on John Bell never wavered. On the morning of December the 20th, 1820, John Bell was discovered unconscious in his own bed. Beside him, on a small table, sat a vial of dark, unidentified liquid, one no member of the household recognized. A small amount was reportedly given to the family cat, which is said to have died within moments. John Bell never regained consciousness. He died the following day, surrounded by his family.